All right, this video was intended to be one video about how we homeschool our dyslexic kids. But apparently I got a little wordy, and so I needed to break it out into a series. So you will see 5 different videos about how we homeschool our dyslexic kids. Enjoy. All right, number 1, basics are important. Sometimes I hear of people who unschool their dyslexic children because they want them to find their passion and want them to be able to be successful in the thing that they love. And that is amazing, and I love that theory. But for children who have dyslexia, tutoring and the basics are so very important. And that's not only speaking from a parent of dyslexic kids, but also as a dyslexic myself. The constant working on the basics and tutoring the reading and learning the foundations is so important. And the mastery of those are so important. I know that everyone has their own theories, and that's the beautiful part of parenting. I can tell you where I come from as an adult with dyslexia, and I'm sure that if you rounded up 10 or 12 of us all that had varying symptoms of dyslexia, that we would all say the same thing. I wish we were taught this. I wish we had been taught that. I wish we had been. I promise you, if you get enough of us in one room, we can all come up with something that we wish had been focused on more. So here's what we did, and here's what I would suggest if you were talking to me out on the street. This is what I would suggest for you. Tutoring. Any sort of Orton Gillingham tutoring is so vital. Orton Gillingham is just a multisensory approach. There's so many ways to do multisensory approach to learning. That is why Charlotte Mason method is so popular in that situation. I think that is also why people have come into the unschooling, because they believe that to be multisensory once a child is immersed in what they love to learn. But true multisensory learning is engaging more than one of your factory senses. So this can go with things like going for a nature walk while talking about multiplication or reviewing multiplication. You are using multiple senses as you are learning, and that is just another way to commit things to long-term memory. I assume if you're watching this video, you have a basic understanding of dyslexia, so I'm not going to really go over that right now. I probably couldn't, because the umbrella of symptoms are so vast. I'm not sure that I would touch on everything. And usually when kids that have dyslexia have symptoms, a lot of those things go into different categories. I have one child who is not only dyslexic, but he is also dysgraphic, which means the basic explanation for that is his fine and gross motor are a little bit delayed, or could be severely delayed. My son happens to be more in the moderate of delay, but there's so many different things that I probably couldn't even tell you what all the symptoms are, but a quick Google search will help you with that. So tutoring is a must. Tutoring is a must, and the basics are a must. That, again, is from my experience as an adult and also as a parent. I have seen the difference. I will do another video on our background story, and I think I'll do that with my husband another time, but we have seen the benefits of mastery with dyslexic children. And not moving on until they have mastery of the situation, and mastery of the information. So I say situation because I want you guys to understand that dyslexia is a learning disability that crosses all lines. This is not just academic. And so when we talk about dyslexia, this has so much to do with tying your shoes, telling time, creating processes for your day, getting up and getting started in your day has just as much to do with that as reading. This is something that goes across all the aspects of your children's lives, and for me, for my life. So again, number one, tutoring and basics. I prefer, and we prefer in our home, my husband is not dyslexic, but can see the struggles, and I have spoken about it with him for many, many years, but we prefer the Barton method. We have seen huge success with that. All about spelling, all about reading. Closely mirror the Barton method, the tiles, the moving. The Barton method just works really well. We had found a tutor for our oldest son who used a combination of programs, and he just made progress like nothing we'd ever seen before. The unfortunate part about tutoring is the cost associated with that. So there's many other ways you can handle that. Charters usually pay for that sort of thing. If not, it's something that has to come out of pocket, or you are able to purchase the Barton method and do it yourself with your child. That has crossed our mind before for something we should look into doing, but for our family, it works just a little bit better for us to have a trusted tutor handle that situation. So that just has something to do with our personalities and our children's personalities. And if anybody knows the Enneagram, I have a lot of type 8s in my house. And so when we are able to find a tutor that we love, that we trust, and we see results, we like to delegate that responsibility out to someone who is not us, and that our children don't see all day, every day. So, so that's number one, tutoring and basics. Review, review, review. Everything that you should be teaching a child is about the basics. Reading, writing, arithmetic, those sort of things, until you have mastery, and let them just keep going until they have mastery. When we have a subject that isn't our strong suit, it is so important that we work on it. And I know that this can become a argument type and a hard part for our families when we have a child who pushes back against the things that they aren't strong at. That becomes contentious in our house, and I can understand that, but I will vouch for the fact that muscles that aren't used atrophy. And I will also say that dyslexics don't lack the muscle for reading, it's weak, and the connection is a little bit different. So I would suggest sticking with the basics and keep them going all the way until high school is over and long into their ages in which you feel like this should have been mastered. There are going to be things for your dyslexic kids that are going to need to be tutored or retaught throughout their entire life. And so I think the biggest part for parents that have dyslexics is to remember that the learning curve on these amazing kids is a little bit longer than children who don't have dyslexia. So you have the opportunity to work on basics and these tutoring the basics for an extended period of time. And due to memory issues, which I'll talk about later, you will have the opportunity to see some subjects again and again and again and again. And the key is to not be frustrated by it. And I know that's really hard, and I am not the best at it, but the key is with these kids is that creating an environment around learning that isn't contentious is imperative. And so if that means as parents we have to adjust our expectations, then that's what that means. Either lower or adjust what we believe should be the end result. So let's go on to 2.